let's talk about the next match that we're going to see, which is the match for the third place for the European tournament. So let's get in Pingu and Painter and talk about this one. It's going to be Shaft versus YOINK. So, guys, what's your expectation here for this matchup?
It's really hard to tell.
Yeah,
to be honest.
No. I won't let you get away with like. It's really hard to tell. It's really hard to tell.
Oh, nice. Double Nevsky ban. They both decided, you know what? We don't want to deal with the Nevsky.
Exactly. So this is, I think, a very interesting aspect, and also just for context, the way this works is that so that no team has kind of like an indication of what the other team might dislike or what they don't want to see in terms of playstyle. It's a blind ban. So both teams just say, "Hey, we don't want to see this ship," and that for the very first time now, at least for the official broadcast, we see that the same ship is banned, which is the Alexander Nevsky. So do you have any conclusions about like what the teams might want to run, or is it just like a I don't want to deal with this ship kind of ban?
Klebears. There will be Klebears, I guess.
Yeah, well, Nevsky does kind of hard shut down the Kleber with like just providing a barrier that you can't push into with your Kleber. Like you got all the speed, but you're running around. The railguns of the Nevsky just that'll catch you quite easily. So you can understand. Removing the Nevsky does allow a lot more open water Kleber play, a bit more open water Marceau play as well. It does, however, I mean, we're definitely less likely to see the smoke trains. We still can see the smoke trains. It's just they will be a lot more effective, a lot shorter range now, because instead you're going to be putting either a Des Moines, a Salem, or a Minotaur inside that smoke train instead.
I really want to see a Minotaur, to be honest, but I don't think that will happen. Because there could be so many Klebears around and still Stalingrad and stuff like that. Really hard. Especially on this map, except we've seen a Minotaur on the A side of this map.
I just like I feel like if you want to bring a Minotaur, it's probably not the map for it. There's just not really the place where you would say here this is where the Minotaur would really work that well. So I wouldn't really expect it here. But maybe one of the teams will actually surprise us. Just for context, Northern Waters was the pick of Shaft, and Crash Zone Alpha was then obviously the pick of YOINK. Shaft actually banned North. So apparently, after the last match, they decided, we're not that comfortable with North, so let's just get it out of the way. And YOINK banned Land of Fire. So that's just for context, and as always, a Warrior's Path, the last map is going to be the randomly drawn one. Oh, so yeah, we usually see that teams try to get a radar cruiser towards the island in the middle of the one line, and that's super, super dangerous, but worth it. Is there any way to not make that move, like and try to kind of disregard that move and do something else that would be equally important for the match?
Yeah, we see a lot of French destroyers take that same position up, but the French destroyer is usually a preliminary for getting that radar cruiser in there. So basically, you use your French destroyer to get the early spotting, catch anything that else might be trying to push you, and get you the spotting. So you send the Kleber all the way to the one line, like behind the island. He spots anything coming into it and allows your team to make the pressure to bring your radar cruiser in. I think you still want the radar control over that cap no matter what happens. Or you can just decide, right, we're going to play hard focus on B and C and just like leave a kiting force there. But I think we'll see both teams try to push for it. It seems to be the most prominent tactic I've seen on this map. Penguin?
Let's see. I mean, we've seen situations where the Alpha Spawn team tried something like that, tried to push on this island together with 2DDs. One is laying a smoke, one was, I think, a Marceau, and the other ship was then a Des Moines. But the Bravo Spawn team just positioned their Stalingrad and Yamato on different positions, and the Yamato even on the other side, on the other flank, like between Bravo and Charlie, were able to snipe across the map behind the small island and hit the Des Moines there. It's not a safe spot, so it is risky, but it could be worth the risk to get the advantage on this side.
It's always the thing, right? You on the one hand, you don't want to be predictable, but there are certain positions on maps, if you manage to get there, they just provide so much tactical importance and vision, or at least give you the opportunity to get the maximum out of, for example, your radar, that it's worth the risk. So that's why I'm usually asking, like, so if you go for this, it's a bit of a gamble, right? For both teams. We've seen this yesterday, for example, in the match from Rain versus Snack, where both teams deployed very heavily just to win that side. And then actually everything went down the drain for Snack when they lost 2 ships trying to get into that position. But Rain was just a little bit faster with deploying the Des Moines into the counter position to radar, and then have all of the other barrels basically already pointing there and just waiting for that moment to happen. So I'm just curious to see whether teams might try to find a different solution for that area, or rather focus on B or C. But yeah, we do have the option for Klebers here, so I would expect Klebers. But of course, my question is, do you expect a Z52 for the B cap?
In the last match, we had a Z52 in the B cap. It lost almost half of its HP just trying to get into the cap. I don't think it could be worth it, but if the enemy is sneaky enough, has a good positioning and the early spot on the Z52, I don't know.
It's very risky. We've seen that time and time again. Getting that Z52 into the island is very doable, but he loses so much health on the way in, and then he's locked in that position because you have so many radar cruisers surrounding it, and you have so many French destroyers trying to get angles on it, that very often that Z52 takes focus down. I've rarely seen a Z52 like be able to take that and get out alive.
I mean, it's the only situation where the Z52 is really worth it in the middle, in the early beginning of the match, and everything else, what is happening outside of the cap, there is other DDs that are pretty much better than the Z52. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I fully agree. But I've seen this this specific play quite often. Just teams trying to get the Z52 in, but with the lack of speed, it does come at a very high price. And the question is it worth it to get that cap, or to potentially play around it with another DD? So we will have to see this. Let me take a look over there. It looks like the teams are almost ready to go. So I hope we don't have a delay here with starting the match. Of course, we will launch a prediction campaign. Let me check if there's already one running right now. Yes, we see it. Who will win on Northern Waters? Currently, it seems like Shaft is the popular pick here with 770,000 channel points, and YOINK with 291,000 channel points. So if you still have some channel points left over, go and try this new feature. I think it's a very fun one, and I think a lot of people manage to either lose a lot of channel points by betting, or actually doubling or tripling their channel point amount at this point. We also had a funny little poll earlier today after we had to wait for quite some time for the rain match to start, and there was actually who has the best haircut. So yes, we did have to kill some time back then. And did you know it was actually Private Penguin, I think, with like 66%, followed by me, which already tells you that there's not a lot of competition going on, and then followed by Mr. Conway. So Mr. Conway,
what's wrong with my hair? Like, I think I look pretty nice, to be honest. I think I look beautiful. No,
handsome man.
Can I just say, losing to me in this?
I mean, it's at least not Waterline Conway. Where I got like around 20 comments that I should have introduced Mr. Conway's hair separately next to Mr. Conway. But you know how it is, guys. Like, we're in the Czech Republic here, and it's we've been in a very, very long lockdown with like hairdressers not being open for like 5 or 6 months. So this is what we're blaming this on, obviously. Not laziness or anything else.
See, what I did is I decided, you know what, I'm probably not going to be able to get another haircut for a while. I'm just going to get it all shaved off at once and then not have to care about it for another 3 months. When we go to the next lockdown phase, it's probably going to happen.
Easy mode.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's the easy mode. That's the easy way out. I still try to keep like some kind of shape or form. So I actually bought a hair trimmer and did it myself with the help of my girlfriend. But
not bad.
So I think it worked out.
Like homemade, and it looks better than mine. So yeah, maybe I need to borrow those clippers.
Indeed. So chat, actually, this is for me always interesting as well. It's like, you are watching from all over the place. So first of all, let me know where you're actually watching from. And second of all, do you have the same first world problems? I know it's a first world problem to talk about this, but it's just been a really, really weird last year. Like we had to kind of completely change the plan that we had for King of the Sea 10 because of Corona. And then we were hoping that, hey, with King of the Sea 11, everything is going to be better. We can fly people in. And then, of course, nope. And then, the hope is for like 2021. 2021 is going to be the better year. Things are going to be good. People are going to be vaccinated. Things are going to be much better. And then we're still in the situation. So I hope at least for King of the Sea 13, we'll be able to fly some people actually into the office and have some fun and have people actually being here and doing this all in person, because these people here, the beautiful co-casters that we have, are quite far away. I mean, Private Penguin, like we're from Prague. Private Penguin is streaming from Germany, and Pains are. Oh, and I see. Oh God, the game is almost running. So we'll just say, enjoy the match. Stop talking, Chrysanthus, and just hand it over to the game. Enjoy it.
Right.
Welcome to this runner-up best of 3 series. We've got YOINK in green and Shaft in red, and the winner of this will go through to the internationals and be in with a running for all of those cash prizes that are available during the internationals. YOINK is here in green with Ohio, Yamato, Salem, Minotaur, Double Moskva, Gearing, Daring, and Clever, and the match bans for this, actually both teams banned Nevsky. Maltese, what we've got on the Shaft side.
So for Shaft, we've got a Conqueror, Yamato for battleships, Double Des Moines, Goliath, Moskva for cruisers, and then for the Triple Destroyer, we've got a Marceau, Holland, and YOINK. So Holland's a very rare pick, and we never see the Holland.
So the reason I've heard as to why teams have been taking Holland is because normally you'd associate this with CVs, right? So because it's got really good AA, but Smarland is banned, so you can't bring Smarland. Holland has got those quick reloading long-range torpedoes, which, while they don't do much damage, can be used to continuously push torpedoes very regularly against a static position. Like, for example, Melvin here in the Moskva is going to be going over towards that island over on the sea line, C1, C2. And so potentially that Holland, if it gets up far enough, could actually start to push torpedoes towards the nose of that Moskva. Even if he turns in towards the cap here. So that would be my suspicion. But yeah, it's a kind of an odd pick.
It's a weird pick. I mean, taking it over Daring, I mean, I guess it's literally the range of the torps and the speed and stuff, I guess.
Possum already into Charlie. Flaxer, obviously, gearing is much, much more slow. Possum will probably be able to cap that, no problem at all. There will be
CVs are in a fight state, reversing into B.
And actually, there's nothing there. So quite often you'll see the South team push a cruiser up to this island by B, but they haven't yet. So CVs are in a fine state, should be completely clear to cap B, no problem at all. And that is because Shaft are going really heavy over towards the C side here. And I don't think we've seen a team do this yet, where they go heavy on this side. So it'd be interesting to see what they do with these two Des Moines. Possum does indeed cap and is turning across those torpedoes. Needs to be a little bit careful. Oh, Possum, you need to...
Is he originally?
Gonna take that one, I think. Ooh.
Oh, no, wow.
Oh, break. Come on. Yes. Oh, nice dodging,
He does
Possum.
the second set, though? He will. Wow. Okay.
Okay. That's a combination of skill and luck, I think.
I thought that went like into his propeller or something, but I guess
that was
maybe
good reactions from us. Don't forget that we are, as spectators, we're in this view where we can see everything all the time unless I change the view. So those torpedoes weren't spotted by Possum until they were right next to him. Okay, Kleber of Biz over on A is pushing up to the island. And Flo is going to be reversing back towards the cap. You've got the radar of Melvin actually just popped.
No, you can really shoot him though. The Minotaur is way too far away, and Kleber's behind the rock, so he's okay for now.
Given the position of the YOINK's team, I think that was just an information radar, just to see where things are. So
yeah.
That will... I don't think that quite spotted the Conqueror, though.
The Kleber's being really aggressive on the one line right now.
Yeah, he's gonna...
I guess...
I think we'll see him turn around pretty quickly when he spots this Goliath.
He spotted the Goliath. He's turning around.
Chat band obviously will know that there's a destroyer there, because Goliath has reasonably good detection.
11 kilometer, yep.
Okay, Marceau Possum, having capped C, is now going to head over to contest B, where CV's in refined state is waiting. The Moskva of Doge here is outside radar range of that daring. The radar does cover some of B, but not that part of B. The Yu-Yang double Des Moines group from Shaft is now starting to head up the 10 line. Let's just move over to more the perspective of Tambor here. So
He's getting shot at by double Des Moines.
Yeah, and if he noses forward anymore, there's also some deep water torpedoes coming.
He's hydroing, so he does see the torp.
Yeah,
so
he's just stopped to reverse, but obviously Moskva is quite a big ship and it doesn't change direction very quickly. But it should be fine. Yep, that's fine.
Possum's actually moved over to B. See if he can do something. Daring actually smoked up. Walked away. Marceau's actually spotted right now by the Daring, but Marceau's gonna probably go away and just go dark.
And did reverse towards A. Flo just crossing the border into the cap now. I suspect
He got radared by
Melvin's-
Minotaur.
Yeah, Melvin's radar still in cooldown, so Mono stepping in with the radar there. The AP from Minotaur, as we were saying yesterday, if you are angled to it as a destroyer, is not that dangerous. But if you keep wiggling like that, it will
Yeah.
be.
If you give him enough angle.
Yeah, the thing is, he's got to try to wiggle against Biz's HE, but not give too much of an angle to Mono, which is kind of tricky.
He's doing a pretty good job
doing a pretty
for
good
it
job.
so far. Mono does actually manage to get to the rock, which is very unfortunate for Shaft.
Yeah, Shaft not really in a position to do anything about that right now. Conqueror firing against Biz. Firing sequential turrets here. You'll quite often see players do this, trying to force a player to make a turn to avoid the first set of shells, and then they'll catch them with the second set or the third set. Flo still under fire here. Getting away from that conflict with 7.4.
He's in Moscow radar right now, I assume, right? Yep.
Yeah, I think so. Nothing really able to land shots. Minotaur a bit too far away now to really land those shells accurately. And Daring also struggling to land those shells. Okay, finally some connect. Down to 5-3.
YOINK Moscow does go down. Tambor on the 10 line, probably farmed out by those double Des Moines.
Yeah, he was
and
going
shot
down
at by the ammo.
pretty quickly. So that's going to mean that Shaft have very good control of Charlie. Max is going to have to make a quick exit here. Taubert firing back against these Des Moines, but they're both pretty healthy right now. You can see the radar there is currently running on Zill. So Flax are actually taking quite a lot of damage from these Des Moines.
Pepega Xander shoots at the Minotaur from 24. He does miss.
Okay, so YOINK currently holding 2 caps. They do not have a points lead, but that will change very quickly if they keep these 2 caps. Flo is sticking around A. I think Flo still has enough health to be sent back into A eventually, if they feel like they've got the power to do that. There's only 3 ships here. Minotaur is lobbing shells over the island towards Vert. Shells aren't going to do much unless they find the superstructure. Marceau, Stress Possum, heading back into B. Trying to keep the island in between his Marceau and CV's Daring. Now, he'll turn towards the south side of the island. I don't think he realized that CV's is actually reversing. Biz is also there to support.
Possum's in a relatively safe spot here. I don't think... I mean... CVs are in a fine state, can't really reverse into him.
No. Radar
He's radared.
out. Radar out from the Moskva behind here, so Doge currently radaring. That will give the Yamato a shot into CVs. Yep, that connected. Aland also being able to open up from longer range. Yeah, CV's taking quite a lot of damage there, even though it's quite long-range fire.
Yeah, the Holland is doing some damage. Actually, is it an AFT Holland? Let's see.
Currently firing at about, it's probably about 11k,
10.4 is its
10.5ish,
range?
something like that. Yamato dispersion on the second volley, not connecting.
Now Marceau's actually being able to take it a bit, but the Daring's gonna reverse back into it.
Yeah, Yoink are going to be wanting to block that B cap as much as they can. They do have Biz here as well up in the Kleber, who's going to also push down to support. You've got, meanwhile, the Des Moines and the Yuyang setting up shop in Charlie.
They do have to be careful here, because if they get spotted, there's Tobear on their broadside, so they do have to keep that Salem in mind. Tenchi War is actually getting... he's probably dead, actually.
Absolutely.
He is dead. CVs are in a fine state, is being engaged by the Holland, but Holland really, I mean, the gunpowder it has is kind of questionable, so I don't know about these trades, especially in front of a Kleber too.
So, given that it's 1 cap each, but Shaft are actually 2 ships up because they haven't lost a single ship yet, that actually does mean that the points clock is with them at the moment at 7 minutes, if nothing changes.
Can anything hit Possum? Well, the Daring's actually able to hit Possum right now. Is it Daring? Wait, oh, Kleber, I mean Biz. Wait, Biz is running into a Conquer Yamato. What is... I mean, I guess they can trade the Marceau, but...
I think they're just trying to get Possum down, but they are going to pay with Biz for sure. Shaft have actually swapped over the Conqueror and the Yamato.
Biz is definitely dead.
I think Zando was on the way to Alpha. Conqueror swapping back to get some long-range HE.
CVs are in a fine state, might actually also go down. He's at 1.7k. Can they see him? They can. They are shooting at him, right? Oh, they're shooting. Yeah, they're shooting at him.
Yeah, I think CV's probably realized... Oh, no, fire actually does burn out, or DCP was run.
Does Conquer Pepe Gazando?
Kind of surprised that he was still shooting then.
100 HP? No one has shot?
And 1, there are shells in the air from
Yang?
Exodus Blaze. He smokes up, it might be too late. Nope, that volley missed. Another volley
Moscow
coming in
gets
from
shots,
Doge.
though. Alright. Well, right now, actually, Shaft win off of 1 cap alone, so they don't really have to do much. I mean, they're gonna contest B now, because, I mean, the Yuyan can literally take it for free, right? So, they're kind of chilling on the points, for sure. They're gonna have 2 caps sticking now. And, well, the biggest thing is Tobear is gonna make his way down into C. That's probably gonna be one of the most important things YOINK can possibly do here.
And I think Shaft are going to have to realize that Tobear is going to do that and turn around at least 1 ship to deal with that, because they're not going to want to lose that C cap. But he's got to get really close, Tobear, in order to push into that cap.
Yes, he can sit behind the island, I think, though.
Yeah, but look how close that is to the enemy ships.
For sure.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I mean, YOINK only have 1 destroyer left to spot for them. Oh, and there goes the Minotaur. Unfortunate. And, well, they only have 1 destroyer left, which is Flaxer in the gearing. But, I mean, there's so much radar on B. He's going to find it a really hard time to actually, you know, do anything.
Yeah, it looks like they're sending... I don't know
Zill's
why
dead.
they're sending Flaxer over the back there. Zill's just gone down as well from Shaft.
This
on fairly
Salem
low health.
push might be good. If they see Kamikazes,
Mhm.
which, well, I guess they don't right now. But if they see him, they might possibly get the kill.
Yeah, Tobear practically full health here. Osvar HE coming in. Tobear is radaring just to make sure there's nothing in front of him. I think he's looking for Exodus, but Exodus is too far away. Salem, of course, has a shorter range radar than Des Moines. So, Tobear's going to come up behind this island here, but there's going to be that torp threat from Exodus with the deep water torpedoes. Potentially also the Halland could come over, although I think they'll keep it there by B. Kamikaze's going around to get broadside shots onto Tobear. Yeah, if Kamikazes gets onto the broadside of Tobear, that's going to be AP coming every 5 seconds. Tober actually being reasonably effective against
Actually,
Vert
yeah,
right now.
Tober, this Des Moines he's in a really bad spot for that Des Moines. And the thing is, Shaft's actually contesting A2. They have a 100k HP advantage. Oh my god, Tober. Was
Here we
that the
go.
Conquer?
I think it must have been, and then Kamikazes gets the finishing AP into the broadside. Final AP from the dead Salem going into Vert there.
Well, there's only 20 seconds left, and I don't really see any kills that can get converted here for YOINK. So Shaft, I think, are gonna take an easy game 1 here.
Looks like it. The only ship I can see that could potentially get caught, it's Flow.
Yep, if he gets caught in the radar, but
He's
a bit far
outside
away.
Melvin's radar range, I think. Yeah, just outside.
He's too far from Flaxer, so I think that's GG's first game.
It's
Congratulations,
like GG's
Shaft.
for Shaft. So Shaft will go 1-0 up against Yoink in this best of 3. This is the runner-up match, so the winner of this will go through to the internationals. The loser will go home. So to analyze that match, I will pass you now back to the lovely chaps in Prague.
No audio?
Mm-hmm.
Co-casters. There we go. So now we're
Thanks.
here. Good catch there. So sorry, guys. We're saying congratulations to Shaft for taking the first match off of Yoink. Really well played here. And let's discuss how that actually happened with Painsor and Private Penguin, because we were already, I already heard them discussing this in the background. So let's take a look at the map and especially how the teams deployed. Let's start with Painsor.
Right, so this map, I believe, was won and lost by this 10-line push by Des Moines, the pair of Des Moines and the Yang. They just basically rolled all the way up this 10-line and just steamrolled the Moskva first, caught out the Destroyer, and then rolled over the Yamato too. Like, that was won and lost over on the Sea-Flying Penguin, you reckon?
I'm totally agreeing there. Yep, that was a really great call together with the Young. I mean, the focus fire was great. We have to mention that the Yamato had a good position there to shoot behind this island. And as soon as both Des Moines pushed the Moskva a little bit too far back, he got blapped by the Yamato. But the thing is, the Yamato here tried to escape backwards, and they kept pushing, and the Destroyer and the Salem, they were not able to do anything about that, because, I mean, we have to say, they got a little bit lucky, that both Des Moines in the smoke, because there were torpedoes running inside of the smoke train. They were living on the edge, sometimes having really low HP there, but healing up again. But the combined firepower of both ships and the other battleships shooting the Yamato, and even 2 deep water torpedoes hitting it, sealed the deal, I guess. And after the battleship here is dead, there is nothing much you can do as a team to push back on the seaside. What do you think, Chrysanthus?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I really like that play, because we talked a lot about, for example, the one line. The one line wasn't actually that, at least initially, that important, because both teams didn't really go to rush it. And I really liked how Shaft managed to say, like, you know what, we'll try something different. We know what the enemy is going to park their radar ships, and we're just going to take it out. Opening up that entire flank, and the combined firepower of the 2 Des Moines onto that Moskva was just very interesting to see. And there was also like interesting ship picks by Shaft in general, picking, for example, a Goliath, also picking a Halland and the Yang to go here. Why do you think they picked the Halland out of all of the available ships? Because I think it's the first time I've seen it, at least in the last 2 days.
See, we were debating this, and we couldn't come up with an answer either.
I think the potential to snipe on long range, 15 kilometer torps, is a good call there, and a super narrow spread. So you can have, if you have enemy ships that are sitting still on a long range, you can try to snipe them away with their Halland torps. You have a really fast reload, and you have really fast torpedoes, so dodging is not that easy. But other than that, I mean, he hit here and there a few torpedoes, but I don't know. Another torpedo DD would have been as good as a Halland, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't need a smoke destroyer because the composition was Goliath, Yamato, and the destroyer at that side. So the smoke screen wasn't exactly necessary. Like, the Goliath doesn't need a smoke screen to perform. So, So you just want to focus on torpedo threat because it's torpedo threat and spotting. So you could bring a Shimakaze for that role. You could bring gearing for that role if you want the smoke screen just in case of emergencies for backup. I'm not entirely sure why. Like, obviously it has the heal in case it gets into a scuffle, but you're going to need the heal less often if you end up getting caught in a fight. Don't end up caught in a fight. Sorry. I do want to point out something that really took me by surprise is the Minotaur deciding he wanted to pick a fight 2 versus 1 with the Goliath and the Yamato and getting dev struck for it. That confused me. There's times that you open up and there's times you don't. Sorry, what was that?
I think the Minotaur just didn't realize that the Yamato was coming back. I think he just fought the Goliath from behind the island and thought he was safe there. But then random AP shells appeared from this Yamato and killed the Minotaur off there. But I'm really, really happy to see a Minotaur there.
at least for a short amount of time.
At least.
It's like yesterday. I think you jinxed it as much as I jinxed it yesterday with asking for the set 52 and then the set 52 eating a torpedo.
I'm happy.
So the funny thing is, during this match, like there was no radar controls like from heavy cruisers at the B cap, so the Z52 would have actually done a job, but they just didn't bring one. So people assume that nobody's going to take it. So
yeah. So overall, I think really well played by both teams, but Shaft just having a better overall plan and also keeping the enemy on their toes with the different ship picks and making them work. Because at the end of the day, it's all about just winning the match, right? So.
True.
Good job to them. So let's take a look at the next map, which is actually a YOINK's pick. So Shaft just basically converted their own pick to a point, and now it's on YOINK to do the same for Crash Zone Alpha. Mr. Combi can actually show the map. That would be nice. Now, we've seen a lot of interesting plays here with a lot of destroyers, which would be very, very possible because the teams only banned Alexander Nevsky, and we could see some French DD action here, which was very popular in Crash Zone Alpha. Do you expect anything like this, or rather more, let's say, traditional play?
I can see some French destroyers for getting the caps early, but I don't expect to see the same thing that Rain did with 4 Clebers and a clump along with a Marceau on the other flank. I don't expect to see 5 French destroyers again. What I do expect to see is the Moskva position that was demonstrated by Bansivi on this map, which is smoking out a Moskva to the B cap with the Haragumo. I think that's a very strong position. I would like to see some more of it because it also allows you much greater control over B and the 2 entrances on either side of it. But other than that, I think it's going to be standard corner pushes. Both teams are going to be trying to push A1 and J10, or A10 and J1. Sorry. Wait, which way is it? Those 2. No, not those 2. Those 2. No, wait.
Almost. We almost got it.
That one.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that we usually see. If you pay attention, during the matches, you can see that the position on the A line on the south, right next to the cap, is where cruisers love to park. If you can get a cruiser there and you can kind of make sure that he's not going to get spotted, there's a lot of damage potential for that cruiser to just farm the enemy. But of course, you kind of have to make sure the enemy team is not going to then corner that cruiser and destroy it. So it's always a bit depending on how teams are going to deploy. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see. In terms of the teams, we see that they're already ready and they're jumping into battle. So I'll ask for your predictions. Pingu, Shaft or YOINK?
I do say YOINK this time.
Okay.
I would like to see a 1-1. I want it to go 1-1. I want all the series to go 1-1.
Okay, so I while I would love to say I actually would love to see a 1-1 as well, but Shaft looked very convincing, and I think they got it to already take it potentially here off of YOINK in Crash Zone Alpha. But YOINK, prove me wrong. We'll see it now in the game. So handing over to Statsblock and Maltese Knight. Enjoy the match. I'm sure it's gonna be very interesting.
So, Shaft won their map pick. This is YOINK's map pick. So, Shaft here in green. And they bring Conqueror, Republique, Double Des Moines, Minotaur, Gearing, Daring, Marceau, and Harugumo. And over on the YOINK side, what do we got, Maltese?
On Yoink, we've got a Conqueror, Yamato, Des Moines, Salem, Moskva, and for 4 Destroyer, we've got Double Gearing, Daring, Yu Yang. 4 Destroyers, quite interesting. Both teams actually went for the 4 Destroyer pick. And
So-
actually, Shaft picked Harugumo.
Yeah, so when you were on the start screen, you said, "Oh, he's gonna the one line." Why did you
That's
say
what
that?
I thought, because normally you send the Harugumo to the 1 line to farm
Yeah.
out those Des Moines, right? Because normally
But-
the Des Moines goes south of A, maybe on that rock, and you bring the Harugumo to farm him out.
Mhm.
But I guess maybe they're sending him to either maybe the 10 line with the double
think
Des
that-
Moines, maybe smoking him up.
I think the same technique will work on the top end. I mean, if you look
Yeah.
at the islands, they're kind of they're not exactly the same, but they are kind of
They're very
similarly
similar.
positioned. Yeah. So that, I'm guessing, is the plan. But Haru is quite slow, so he'll get there eventually. Unlike Possum, who is screaming through the gap here to get to Charlie early, but could potentially be spotted by Flaxer, depending on how far north Flaxer cuts that corner. We'll see how that goes. Looks like Yamato of Yoink heading with Melvin in the Moskva over to support the Sea Cap. Double Destroyer from Yoink, Yu Yang and Daring. Daring running Hydro. You've got these new Hydro swooshes which were added to the game recently, so we can actually see when ships are running Hydro.
That's really nice, actually.
Yeah, and you can tell the difference between... It took me a little while, but we can tell the difference between the radar and the Hydro. The radar swoosh is much quicker, whereas the Hydro swooshes are a lot slower pulsing.
And I think they're like greener.
Yeah, different color.
I wish they put something on the mast, maybe. Like
Yeah,
they did radar.
I would
like
I would really
blue.
love that permanent radar symbol, but in a different color for the Hydro. That would be lovely. Wargaming, if you're listening.
Would be really nice, yeah. If Wargaming are listening, for sure.
I'm sure they are. So Zil and Zal are going into great name there. Zil and Zal are going into A. There are torpedoes coming. Zil should be fine with those, but Zal might have to do a bit of dodging. And they are pushing torpedoes back in the other direction. Daring Doge is contesting against the double destroyers on the south side of B. There are torpedoes coming, Doge, so he's going to have to do a bit of dodging. You can see there from the dark smoke coming out of the stacks that the Daring is doing work to get moving. There we go. Okay. Possum has capped. Looks like didn't get spotted by Flaxer. And is now going to continue over towards the border here. With the Harrow and the Daring. Probably again, yep, legendary Harrow being used to smoke Chatbound across the cap.
You think Biz is... So is Biz radar? Oh, he is radar. He's a radar YY.
Yeah,
I haven't seen too many of those, actually.
No, and that does make sense, putting the Daring there with the Yu Yang.
For sure. Last season, in last cuts, we actually didn't see any YYs, radar ones, because Smaland was a thing, and it just does the job better. So happy to see YY actually being played again.
It's also and it's also really cool to be seeing it being played in both of its variations, because last time whenever we saw one, it was pretty much always
smoke
radar before. Well, it was always smoke when Smarland was around, but before Smarland, it was always a radar.
Yes.
So it's nice now to see it being used in both variations. Okay, Possum dipping in, getting torpedoes off towards Mono, but taking a bit of return fire there. Des Moines still peppering Possum's aft end. Possum trying to swing that aft end round to try and dodge these shells. Mono trying to anticipate those turns.
Flaxer is smoking him up, though, to push him up a bit more aggressively. I just realized where Kamikazes is. Look how aggressive he's being. He's gonna try and make the run to that rock really early. Might quite possibly actually might be able to do it.
Okay, over on
Oh,
A.
Moskva takes a massive hit. Down to 26k.
Oh, yeah. And also, Chatband just took a torpedo.
He did. He's